Welcome to the podcast for G's only. For G's only. And it's for all women who's at the C-suite level. CEO. And we coming your way to share our stories in leadership. So we walking the walk, talking the talk, being the boss lady. Welcome to the C-suite, where we help build women leadership and how to be the boss lady. So welcome to the C-suite. So let's talk about being a CEO.
Hello, everyone, and this is your host, Jodi Hood, with the She Suites podcast. That's right. We are the She Suites. This is a podcast where women executives share and compare unfiltered realities women face that our male counterparts will never, ever face. Today's episode, we're going to do part 2 of a part 3 series on menopause can cause pause. Today's episode, we will talk about the emotional effects of menopause. So, if you haven't gone and listened to episode 1, I really need you to go back and listen to that. I suggest you listen to that because this episode 2, we're going to continue with what was going on with episode 1. So, in scenario of episode 1, the C-suite going through a dynamite presentation, and all of a sudden, here comes the hot flash. Well, she managed to muddle through, and everyone said that she had done a good job, but the boss had some questions. So called to the office and said, your presentation was amazing, but there are a couple of gray areas that I want to talk to you about. Immediately, you know exactly what he's talking about. It was during that hot flash that you were kind of thrown off your square. So now, out of nowhere, water starts to well in your eyes, your lips start to quiver, your voice starts to shake, and your nose starts to run. Am I crying? What on earth? You immediately excuse yourself and run to the ladies' room and begin to cry a river of tears. You're asking yourself, why are these tears flowing? He's asked me questions about my presentation before. I am just so emotional. Well, ladies, I have to break it to you. That is another symptom of the big M. That's Miss Menopause doing her thing. Emotional roller coaster, yes, that's what you will be on because of this reason. Let me tell you. And this is from my bestie, my BFF, Google. She never lets me down. So she says that as you approach menopause, your ovaries slow their production of estrogen. Estrogen also controls how much serotonin is being produced in our brains. That's right, lady, in the brain. Serotonin is a chemical that helps us regulate our moods. So if you are producing less estrogen, you're also producing less serotonin. So what happens? There's something that they pretty much describe as menopause rage, and that's defined as an intense surge of anger, frustration brought on by those hormonal fluctuations associated with this stage of life. And sometimes they call it the change of life. Now, this can manifest itself in both physical and verbal forms. Such as raised voices, crying excessively or shouting, aggressive behavior, and even violent outbursts. Baby, when I tell you Miss Menopause is nothing nice, some of my followers commented on the last episode to say that Miss Menopause, she's just rude. Someone else said, I hate menopause. Another young lady asked, would I talk about some of the considerations of taking meds or hormonal replacements? But let me tell you, we will get to that. But let's go back to our scenario with our C suite, or should I say, she sweeter, in the bathroom crying. Now, you think to yourself, in the boardroom, In the C suite, that's no place for tears. Why? Because our parts, men, they see tears as a sign of weakness. And executive women have a tendency to pride themselves of being strong, no nonsense. That's right. From a toddler, most strong women remember hearing their mother, as young as 2 years old, say, "Big girls don't cry." But let me tell you something. When Miss M starts doing her thing, big girls, yep, you will cry because that loss of estrogen says something different. I'm telling you, those emotions will just go amok. But menopause will cause pause. But ladies, there's help on the way. Believe it or not, the day after my very first podcast, this young lady, our Cook County Commissioner, Monica Gordon, went to Congress to propose this very important resolution. And what she was proposing, or is that we have additional funding to include researching the long lasting effects of menopause on women's health. She also is requesting that the Cook County Board have more funding for education on the symptoms and effects of menopause for medical workers. That's right. She would like our primary doctors, gynecologists, and specialists to have more education on helping them to identify the symptoms leading to, during, and after menopause. Now, we even had more help, ladies. That's right. Our First Lady, Jill Biden, and the actress Halle Berry were actually here, and they held a news conference at the University of Chicago of Illinois at Chicago with the doctor who's doing groundbreaking research on menopause, and that is Dr. Pauline Mackay. I am definitely going to try and have Monica on our show as well as Dr. Mackay because this is one serious issue, menopause and the effect on the brain. Dr. Mackay, in her recent research, has found a correlation between the number of hot flashes and permanent memory loss, and a correlation with Alzheimer's disease. This is groundbreaking, ladies, and we need to get together, get this research, and demand that more research is done and that our health providers are educated on the effects of menopause. That's right. So, ladies, do big girls cry? We sure enough try not to. But, honey, this Miss M just takes over. Now, I would like to say this. At this stage of life, when you are a young woman, you say to yourself, I can't wait till I have no cycle. No longer will I have a cycle. I can't wait because we're also going to do a series on menses. But be careful what you ask for because of this lack of estrogen that comes along with not having your cycle. There are other physical effects that we last week we talked about the hot flash, but there are also other physical effects. Ladies, let me tell you, our little girlfriends that are all perky, when Miss Estrogen decides to kind of be diminished, our perkiness kind of goes with it. They start kind of hanging low, and that midsection starts to get wide, and our hair begins to thin. Why am I mentioning the physical effects? That's because those physical effects alone can cause an emotional breakdown when you're used to being the one who walks in the room and commands the room, and your body begins to be not as sexy. And not to say that C suite women are concerned about being sexy, but we certainly are concerned about the way we are presented. So, yes, ladies, that alone can cause such an emotional breakdown. And there is, however, something that we can do. We will talk next week about a couple of our options. Certainly, Hormone replacement is an option, but it has its drawbacks. Actually, some of us, because of ageism at the C suite and she suite level, sexism, and if you are a woman of color, racism, when you're going through menopause and those symptoms, it becomes very stressful for you because you start considering, well, should I get a tummy tuck? Should I get that lift, the breast lift? But that is a personal decision. But there are pressures at that top level to be your best self. And you know that ageism, sexism, and racism are the isms that can cause a lot of stress. So, yeah, ladies, we are going to talk about that at another time. But please join me on my next episode when we talk about what we can do about these symptoms and our options as a lady. So until next week, please keep walking the walk and talking the talk. Now, I need you to do me a favor. Tell someone about the podcast. I mean, it is blowing up, but it needs to be blown up even more because this is important information that women really need to know and share. So I tell you, please like me on Facebook, connect with me on LinkedIn, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And that is Jodi Hood. Again, I'll say this one more time. Keep walking the walk and talking the talk. And C-suites, let me tell you, the she-suites are coming at you. So until next time, come on, ladies.
Welcome to the podcast for G's only. For G's only. And it's for all women who's at the C-suite level. CEO. And we coming your way to share our stories in leadership. So we walking the walk, talking the talk, being the boss lady. Welcome to the She-Suite, where we help build women leadership and how to be the boss lady. So welcome to the She-Suite. So let's talk about being a CEO.